Welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Capital University Basketball Podcast. I'm Ryan Gasser and I'm joined with head coach Dixie Jeffers of your women's basketball team, and now we can proudly introduce her as having the most all-time wins among all OAC coaches. Coach, first of all, congratulations. I know that this is a huge milestone. Emotions had to have been flowing during the moment, but talk about the morning after when it all started to sink in. How did it feel 24 hours afterward?
You know, I really haven't thought about it. I really seriously haven't. I just felt so good about the win and how we played and that we got a win on the road, because it's been a long road adventure for us this year, and to get the win on the road and to have that happen on the road was pretty cool.
Well, it was a 79-69 win against Mount Union in their gym, so again, a pretty big milestone moment, and I think that because of who you surpass and the legendary coach Dick Reynolds out of Otterbein, it means a little bit more. So talk about how this record, once previously held by Coach Reynolds, makes it a little bit more special for you to obtain it.
When I came here 29 years ago, Otterbein men's basketball was at its peak. So I spent a lot of time watching Dick Reynolds coach and a lot of different games, just not outside of ours. I used to go and watch Wittenberg and them play. Just great matchups. He was the epitome of excellence. He was the person that pretty much set the standards and the pathway. And, you know, women's basketball was still in its infancy at that time. There were some good things going on at Capitol with Lori Pirtle, you know, the former coach with who I inherited her program and so forth. But to surpass Dick is huge. And, you know, there's not a lot of women that can say they just took out the top dog in the conference. And that's a tribute to my program. That's a tribute to the kids that have played for me. And it does make it a little bit special because I have a deep respect for Dick Reynolds.
And being that, you know, over the course of your tenure, you've been at Final Fours, you've won national championships, Coach of the Year awards that have come through the pipeline. How does this rank among all of the other milestones that you've achieved over your career?
You know, when you win a national championship, it's obviously that 18, 20, you know, kids that did it. When you do something like this, that's the 300 plus student athletes that I've, you know, touched in the almost 30 plus years that I've been here. So this is theirs. And I've heard a lot from the alumni, and they're sending well wishes and so forth. And I just write back and said, you were a big part of this. Thank you for helping me get there. This is a tribute back to all of them. Yeah, I've stayed, but this is theirs as much as mine.
Well, a lot of people have come through the pipeline and also contributed to this. So to all of you out there, Cap fam, thank you in helping making this moment obtainable. Talking more basketball this year, though, you've won 3 of your last 4. Pretty nice run going on. And now you're in a 3-way tie for 4th place in the OAC standings with 6 games left to play. Looking back at last year, is any of this starting to feel like Groundhog Day?
It does feel like Groundhog Day. It's got the same feel to it. Our kids evidently don't like the month of January, and I've got to figure that out for next year. But they do like the February month going into it. We've got 3 weeks of hard basketball yet to go. We put ourselves in another position to control our own destiny. We're a little bit more healthier than what we've been in the last several weeks. Our heads are better. We're understanding things and roles better, and kids are starting to peak. So this is a good time of the year for us.
It seems like Kristen Thompson, every time she comes back from missing a game or so, has like one of her best games of the season. So talk about how when she takes a day off, she gets a little bit healthier, she comes back and really puts forth a good effort.
Well, if that's all it takes, I'll give her some time off of practice and so forth so we can get out there. You know, this past weekend was a total team effort. We got scoring, we got great defense, we got great plays from several different kids. So yeah, there were 4 kids in double figures, but even the kids that didn't reach the double figures gave us great time. Emily Moran, a freshman, came in off the bench, had a key offensive rebound for us late in the game. There's just a lot of things. There were defensive stops. Simone having to play too many minutes again, but yet sucked it up and handled things well going down the stretch. I couldn't be more proud of these kids. It's a fun atmosphere again. The kids' heads are on right, and we're looking forward to finishing out the season strong.
You know, for me, what's most impressive is that you do all of the things that we've talked about. You're in the midst of a season, and yet you juggle so many roles. Coach, mother, wife, you're the senior women's administrator here at Capital University, and you are on so many other committees for the conference, the NCAA, and part of one that's even bringing the Women's Final Four here to Columbus in a few years. So, given that you wear so many hats, how do you juggle so many roles? Everybody out there needs a life lesson like this.
Well, you surround yourself with good people. I mean, in yourself, I've got a great sports information director in you, and you take care of that side of things, and I surround myself with a great staff, and they really take a lot of the blunt and the load off of me from the day-to-day situation. The kids, I got a great group of kids around me. My husband, I got a great husband who allows me to go and do things, and my kids are older now that I don't have to be at home constantly to be that mother. So I love what I do. Everybody says if I'm not on Mach speed, then I'm not happy. I just hope I do everything well. It's important to me that I do everything well, and if I can't, then I need to cut back. But so far things are working, and it's going to stay that way for a while longer.
You're going to get another test here coming up soon, Coach. You got 6 games left, 4 of them are on the road. The opponents that you're going to be facing, John Carroll here at home, they're at the top of the conference. Heidelberg, who's in that 3-way tie with you. A rivalry game in Otterbein, which that's always fun to play in, and then Baldwin Wallace to close out the season. How do you prepare the team mentally and physically for this big stretch of games coming up?
One game at a time. We've got to keep our kids' legs fresh. We've got to keep our kids' minds fresh. So our practices aren't going to be extremely long, but they're going to be intense and not so much. I have to figure out how not much full court stuff that we do and how much body wear we do right now, which is difficult this time of the year. We've got to make sure our kids are sleeping well, that they're hydrating right, and that they're eating right, because it's very, very important that that's all happening. So there's a lot of things that need to come together, but we're going to take one game at a time, and right now it's Marietta. This is another big week for us, and Marietta on the road, they played us tough last time. They zoned us. We didn't handle it very well, and we'll see how well we handle things on the road. But John Carroll's coming to town on Saturday, and that's senior day for us for Shelby, and that's going to be a special day, and hopefully we'll finish the game. I thought we matched up well last time, killed ourselves, made 2 great comebacks, and then fizzled at the end. So hopefully we won't fizzle at the end. We'll be right there.
Well, Coach, you know that the time is coming for the random question of the week. And I made a reference to it earlier in the interview, but it was Groundhog Day just recently. Puxatawny Phil saw his shadow. We got a little bit more winter coming up. So first I got to ask you, how do you view Puxatawny Phil? Is this Puxatawny Phil? Is he a wives' tale, or is this for real?
Well, I take it for real. It's also my parents' anniversary. So if they were still living, they've been married like 45 years. So Groundhog Day, I'm always paying attention. And seeing the shadow, yeah, we're going to have more winter, but all I can say is burr.
Get your sled out. It seems like we're getting a lot more snow coming up here. So, all right, Coach, thanks for joining us. Another fantastic edition of the Capital University Women's Basketball Podcast here on athletics.capital.edu. Don't forget to check out their game on the road against Marietta on Wednesday evening. You can catch all the coverage online, and then come by for Senior Day this Saturday against John Carroll University. For head coach Dixie Jeffers, I'm Ryan Gasser. Thanks for joining us this week, and soon we'll be talking with Shelby Sigman of the Capital Women's Basketball team. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Capital Basketball Podcast. I'm Ryan Gasser, and with junior guard Shelby Sigman. Shelby, thanks for joining us, and we're all over the map with our questions today, but we want to start where it all began, and that's your hometown of Bellbrook, Ohio. Give a little shout out and tell us what it's like and what makes Bellbrook special to you.
Bellbrook, it's a small town just outside of Dayton, and I love Bellbrook, where I'm from. I'm very proud to be from there. It's a very close-knit community. I'm still friends with all the people I went to high school and everything, so I love going back and visiting, and I hope to go back there someday after college.
Well, most small towns, they're looking for other places to do things, but if you had to take a night and you had to pick something in Bellbrook to do, what's the thing to do in Bellbrook?
There's not a lot. I guess the big hangout is just go to B-dubs. Everyone after all the basketball and football games would just go there and just hang out at each other's houses.
Well, you should feel blessed to have a B-dubs. Mine was Dollar General back in my hometown, so you got me beat there. You chose Capital University as your post-secondary education. Why Capital?
I really liked the location. I wanted to go to a small school, but I liked Capital because it's right next to Ohio State, so you kind of get the best of both worlds, big school, small school, and I liked being in the city because it's something new. And I just liked the campus and everything.
Well, we talked with Coach Jeffers earlier, and she eclipsed the new all-time mark for wins in a career among OAC coaches with 654. She attributes that to all of the players that have come through the program over the course of her career. For you, what was it like to be a part of a moment like that when she eclipsed it?
It felt really special to be a part of that. I know Capital Women's Basketball has a lot of tradition, so it felt awesome to be a part of that big moment for Coach. I know she has had so many great teams in the past, and I know this is one she'll remember, so I was proud to be a part of it.
So you've been a disciple of Coach Jeffers for the last couple of years. What is it like to be a player under Coach Jeffers' tutelage?
I mean, she's definitely not afraid to be intense with you, but she cares so much about us, and I love having a coach who cares so much to win, so it's great to be a part of the program with her.
And when she's used you in a couple different roles this season. You began the season in a reserve role, and now you kind of elevated yourself into the starting lineup due to a couple different things, some injuries, and you've been starting the last 11 games now. So talk about your preparation as you entered this season and now in this new elevated role as a starter.
Well, after coming off of last year not playing very much, my initial goals were to get on the floor, and so to start, I just wanted to build my fundamental skills so I could play that role just to get things done. And now as a starter, I feel like I can work more to be a scorer and contribute more and more each game.
All right, well, what do you feel has kind of helped you get into that starting lineup? What features do you bring with your basketball game?
I see myself as a role player. Like I kind of said, I'm not like the huge offensive scorer, but I try to do the little things like play solid defense, get those little extra rebounds. I feel like that's really helped me to move into a bigger role on the team.
All right, this is junior guard Shelby Sigman of the women's basketball team on episode number 2 of our women's basketball podcast. Going now off radar of basketball and asking you a few questions about the team itself. Who's the team jokester?
Team jokester. I feel like we have a few. I think the junior class all kind of feeds off each other, like Simone and Kristen are always joking around. And then we have a couple freshmen this year, Meredith and Chelsea, who are constantly giggling or doing something dumb on the sidelines. So.
All right, well, you guys have been hitting the road a few times. Everybody pops in a movie just to entertain themselves, but who picks the worst movies on a road trip?
The worst movies. That's hard because we never really agree on them. We kind of argue. Usually, like, we're saying one thing, and then our assistant coaches are like, oh, not again. So, I don't know. We never really can even agree on one.
Well, what's the go-to movie then?
Well, a lot of times we forget to bring them, but we watch like some Love and Basketball and, you know, the cliche basketball movies.
All right. So you're in the back of the bus and the music starts blaring. What is the go-to song or genre then?
Genre.
Or is that just as much of a debate as the movie is?
We usually can agree on that. I don't know. Like, one of the team favorites is, like, Teach Me How to Dougie, because Shelby Sheets always gets to dance to it. And just songs like that can get us all pumped together.
Okay. Now, before you hit the bus or before you hit the court, what is your favorite pregame meal?
Favorite pregame meal? Well, definitely not Subway, because we had that so many times. But lately we've been getting MDR every Saturday before the games, and I've always been a fan of MDR. So.
Okay. Now, do you have any routines, or do you engage in any superstitious act before hitting the court?
Well, I always have to have my music before the games, and then superstitions, I guess I always just follow the same routine. Like, I do everything in a certain order, how to get ready in this order, and I always drink my Spark before every game. So, guess that would be it.
That'll give you an extra jolt or two.
Yep.
Now, you allow us to ask you what your major is and what you're studying here at Capital University.
I'm studying middle childhood education in math and science, and so basically I want to be a middle school teacher, and math would be like my first choice, and I'd love to go back home to Dayton probably to teach.
All right. Well, we always end the interview on the random question of the week. We asked Coach Jeffers the same thing. We recently celebrated Groundhog Day, and so we want to ask you, is this a for real thing, or is this just some fictitious act that we all just kind of indulge in?
I guess it's fictitious, but I might believe it if they said winter was going to be over, but since it's not, then no, I guess it's not really that real.
I was going to say Punxsutawney Phil saw a shadow, meaning more winter is on its way. Obviously, I think I get where your thoughts are going on that, but what are they?
I'm not too excited. I like a little bit of winter, but I'm ready for summer.
All right. Well, hopefully the play on the court will remain hot as the temperatures will remain cold. But we wish you the best of luck as we finish out the rest of the season. This has been junior guard Shelby Sigman of the women's basketball team here on part 2 of our women's basketball podcast. Make sure that you come see the women this Saturday when they host John Carroll University in a big battle of OAC teams as we're finishing the home stretch of the season. And like always, go Cap.